The Galactic Military Academy stood on a moon called Prime. It was the best military school in the known universe. Every year, thousands of young aliens came from 47 different star systems to study there. They all wanted to become great officers who could command starships and lead armies. On this particular morning, 300 cadets sat in a large classroom shaped like a half circle. The seats rose up like stairs, so everyone could see the teacher at the bottom. The room was filled with strange and wonderful creatures. Some had scales. Some had crystals growing from their bodies. Some looked like living liquid metal. Others wore special suits just to breathe the air. Commander stood at the front of the room. Which meant he was very tall with shiny scales that changed colors in the light. He had 4 eyes, 2 on each side of his head. Today, he would teach advanced survival tactics. It was one of the hardest classes in the academy. In the front row sat a young cadet who looked different from all the others. He had black hair, warm brown skin, and 2 eyes that watched everything with quiet interest. His name was, and he came from a small planet called Earth. He wore the same gray uniform as everyone else. He sat in the same chair as everyone else. He took notes on the same kind of as everyone else. Nobody had asked where he came from. Nobody had wondered why he needed no special suit to breathe. Nobody had noticed that he was the only human in the entire academy. Commander turned on the holographic display. A ball of light appeared in the air, and slowly it became a picture of a planet. The planet was blue and green and white, spinning gently in the darkness of space. Today we will discuss Category Omega Worlds, announced. His voice was deep and serious. These are planets so dangerous that even visiting them for a short time is considered a death sentence. The cadets leaned forward in their seats. Everyone knew about Omega Worlds. They were the stuff of nightmares and scary stories. Pointed at the spinning planet. This is Earth. It orbits a yellow star called Sol. We have classified it as an Omega class. A soft sound of fear moved through the classroom. Cadets whispered to each other. In the front row kept writing notes. His face showed nothing. Let us begin with the basic facts, continued. Earth has a gravity of 9.8 meters per second squared. This is nearly double the galactic standard. For most of you, simply standing on Earth's surface would crush your bones within hours. A cadet named raised his arm. Which meant his body was made of living crystal. The crystal hummed and glowed when he was nervous. Right now, it was glowing very bright. Commander, how could anything survive in such heavy gravity? An excellent question, replied. Earth creatures have evolved dense bones and powerful muscles. They are built like living tanks. The holographic display changed. Now it showed numbers and charts that made many cadets gasp. The atmospheric pressure on Earth is 101. This is enough to cause bleeding in your lungs and eyes within minutes of exposure. The air itself is 21% oxygen, which is highly reactive and would poison many of your species. In the front row, took a slow, deep breath. The air in this classroom had less oxygen than he was used to. He had felt a little tired during his first week at the academy, but his body had adjusted. Humans were good at adjusting. Made the display show Earth's weather. Great swirls of white clouds moved across the blue surface. Perhaps most disturbing is the presence of monoxide. You may know it as water. Earth is covered in this substance. 70% of the surface is liquid water, and it falls from the sky. Falls from the sky? A cadet named asked in horror. There were beings made of liquid metal. His body had started to pull itself into a tight ball, which happened when we're scared. You mean it rains water, the universal solvent, from above? Regularly, confirmed. Sometimes for days without stopping, the natives simply go outside in it. They let it touch their skin. Some of them even enjoy it. The classroom was completely silent now. Every alien in the room was imagining what it would be like to have deadly liquid falling on their heads. Remembered walking to school in the rain back in. He remembered splashing in puddles when he was a child. His mother would scold him for getting his shoes wet. It had never occurred to him that rain could be considered strange or frightening. "Commander," another cadet spoke up, "surely no intelligent species could evolve on such a world. Life would be impossible." His 4 eyes blinked slowly, one pair at a time. This was how showed that they were about to say something important. "One would think so," he said quietly. "Every scientific model suggests that intelligent life should not exist on Earth. The conditions are too extreme. The dangers are too many. And yet—" He pressed a button, and the holographic display changed again. Now it showed a creature standing upright on 2 legs. It had 2 arms, 2 eyes, and a covering of hair on its head. It looked soft and weak compared to the armored, scaled, and crystallized aliens in the classroom. And yet humans exist. They not only survived on Earth, they conquered it. They spread across every corner of their deadly world, and now they have begun to spread across the stars. 300 aliens stared at the image of the human on the display. None of them looked at the real human sitting in the front row, still taking notes, still breathing easily, still completely comfortable in conditions that would kill most of them. The lecture was only beginning, and was very curious to hear what else Commander had to say about his home. Commander moved to the center of the room. The holographic display floated above him, still showing the image of Earth. He waved his clawed hand, and the picture changed to show the inside of the planet. "We will now examine why Earth is classified at the highest danger level," he said. "I want all of you to understand that what I am about to show you is not exaggeration. This is simple fact." The display showed layers of rock and metal beneath Earth's surface. Red and orange colors moved slowly through the rock like blood through veins. Earth has an active molten core. The planet is literally alive with heat. This causes the surface to be broken into large pieces called tectonic plates. These plates move constantly, grinding against each other. His crystal body made a high-pitched sound. "The ground moves." "Always," confirmed. "When the plates shift suddenly, it creates what humans call an earthquake. The ground shakes violently. Buildings fall. The earth opens up and swallows everything above it. These events can happen anywhere on the planet at any time without warning." The display showed a simulation of an earthquake. Cadets watched in horror as buildings crumbled and the ground cracked open like broken glass. "Humans have built their largest cities directly on top of the most active fault lines," continued. "They know the earthquakes will come. They build their structures to survive the shaking. When buildings fall, they simply build new ones." In the front row, thought about his uncle who lived in Japan. There had been a big earthquake there a few years ago. His uncle had sent pictures of the damage and then pictures of the rebuilding. It was just something that happened. You cleaned up and moved on. The display changed again. Now it showed a mountain with fire and smoke pouring from its top. "Volcanoes," said the word like it was a curse. "Openings in the Earth's crust where molten rock escapes from below. The explosions can destroy everything within hundreds of kilometers. The ash can block sunlight and poison the air across entire continents." "How do humans survive these?" asked. Her liquid metal body was now almost completely spherical with fear. "They watch the volcanoes carefully. They have learned to predict when eruptions will happen. When a volcano becomes active, they evacuate the area, wait for it to finish, and then return to rebuild. They return to live next to the volcano. The soil near volcanoes is very good for growing food," explained. "Humans consider the danger worth the reward." The cadets exchanged looks of disbelief. What kind of species balanced death against agricultural productivity? Now the display showed Earth's atmosphere. Great spiral storms spun across the oceans like angry wheels. "Hurricanes and typhoons," announced. "Massive rotating storms that can span thousands of kilometers. Wind speeds inside these storms can exceed 300 kilometers per hour. They pick up water from the ocean and throw it across the land. They destroy everything in their path. Surely humans evacuate permanently after such events? A cadet from the back asked hopefully. No, they evacuate temporarily, wait for the storm to pass, and return to rebuild. Some coastal areas have been destroyed and rebuilt dozens of times. Humans simply consider this normal. Remembered Typhoon. It had hit Korea the year he was born. His grandmother still talked about it. She had helped rebuild 3 houses in her life. She always said that storms come and go, but family stays forever. The display changed to show temperature maps of Earth. Colors ranged from deep blue to bright red. Temperature variation on Earth is extreme, said. The coldest regions drop to -60 degrees. The hottest regions reach +50 degrees. Humans have colonized both extremes. How is that possible? His crystal body was now flickering with stress. No biological system can function across such a range. Humans are endothermic. They generate their own internal heat through metabolic processes. When they are cold, they put on additional coverings. When they are hot, their bodies excrete water through their skin to cool themselves. They leak constantly. They call it sweating. The water evaporates and carries heat away from their bodies. It is an extremely effective cooling system. Several cadets made sounds of disgust. The idea of a creature that deliberately leaked fluid was deeply disturbing to many species. Furthermore, continued, humans do not simply tolerate these temperature extremes, they seek them out. They climb the highest mountains where the air is thin and cold. They cross burning deserts where nothing grows. They do this for recreation, for fun. The classroom fell silent, even seemed uncomfortable with what he was saying. I want you to understand something, he said slowly. We have sent research teams to Earth. They wore the best protective equipment we could design. They stayed for 2 standard days to collect samples and make observations. He paused. All of them required medical treatment afterward. 3 of them needed psychological counseling. 1 researcher refused to ever go into space again. He said that knowing Earth existed somewhere in the universe made him feel unsafe. The cadets looked at each other. A single planet had traumatized trained research teams in just 2 days. And humans, finished, live there for their entire lives. They raise children there. They grow old there. They call it home, and many of them miss it when they leave. In the front row, felt a small ache in his chest. He did miss home. He missed the smell of rain on hot pavement. He missed the sound of cicadas in summer. He missed his mother's cooking and his father's bad jokes. He had been away from Earth for 3 months now. The academy was comfortable, but it was not home. Nothing would ever be home the way Earth was home. He looked at the holographic image of his planet, spinning blue and green and white in the display, and he smiled softly. Whatever these aliens thought of Earth, to him it would always be beautiful. Commander took a deep breath and looked at his students. Many of them already seemed shaken by what they had learned, but the lesson was not finished. The worst part was still to come. We have discussed Earth's geology and climate, he said. Now we must discuss something far more dangerous. We must discuss what lives there. The holographic display changed. A creature appeared in the air above his head. It was long and gray with a pointed nose. Its mouth was open, showing rows and rows of sharp triangular teeth. Its small black eyes seemed to stare at nothing and everything at the same time. This is called a shark, said. It lives in Earth's oceans. It can smell blood in the water from kilometers away. It has been hunting in those waters for over 400 million years. It is older than trees. The cadet stared at the shark in horrified silence. And it is not the most dangerous thing in the ocean. Another creature appeared. It looked soft and delicate, like a floating flower made of transparent jelly. This is a box jellyfish. It weighs less than 2 kilograms. Its tentacles contain enough poison to kill 60 adult humans. Death can occur within 2 minutes. Humans swim in the same waters as these creatures, for fun. Made a small sound of disbelief. Her liquid metal body had spread flat against her seat, trying to become as small as possible. The display changed rapidly now, showing creature after creature. Snakes with venom that could kill in seconds. Spiders whose bites caused flesh to rot. Insects that traveled in swarms of billions and ate everything in their path. Fish with teeth like needles. Birds with claws like knives. 70% of Earth species are actively hostile to human life, announced. They bite, sting, poison, crush, drown, or simply eat humans whenever they get the chance. How did humans ever become the dominant species? Asked. His crystal body had developed several new cracks from stress. Turned off the parade of predators. Instead, he showed a simple image of an early human. It looked almost exactly like a modern human, just wearing animal skins instead of clothes. This is how humans looked 100,000 years ago. They had no claws, no fangs, no armor, no venom. By all measures, they should have been prey for everything else on their planet. So how did they survive? A cadet asked. Through two advantages that no other Earth species could match, held up one clawed finger. First, their brains. Humans are not the species in the galaxy, but on Earth they were geniuses compared to everything else. They made tools, they made plans, they worked together in groups. He held up a second finger. Second, and more importantly, their endurance. The display showed a group of early humans walking across a vast plain of grass. In the distance, a large animal with horns was running. Most Earth predators use speed to catch their prey. They run fast, catch their target quickly, and kill it. If they fail to catch it in the first minute or two, they give up. Their bodies overheat and they must rest. The humans in the display kept walking. The horned animal ran further away. Humans cannot run fast. Even their children are slower than most Earth predators. But humans can move at a moderate pace for hours, days. They do not overheat because they sweat. Their two legs are extremely efficient for long-distance travel. The display showed time passing. The sun moved across the sky. The horned animal stopped running. It stood still, breathing hard. The humans kept walking toward it slowly, patiently. This is called persistence hunting. Humans would choose a prey animal and simply follow it, not chasing, just following. Every time the animal stopped to rest, the humans would appear again, walking, always walking. The animal in the display tried to run again, but it stumbled. It was exhausted. The humans caught up to it easily now. They raised their simple stone weapons. Eventually, the prey would collapse from exhaustion. It would be unable to run anymore. And then the humans would walk up to it and kill it with stones and sticks. The classroom was completely silent. "Do you understand what this means?" asked quietly. Humans hunted by simply refusing to stop. They were not the fastest or the strongest. They were just the most persistent. They would follow you forever. No matter how far you ran, they would keep coming. You could not tire them out. You could not escape them. You could only delay them. Thought about this. He remembered running track in high school. He had never been the fastest runner on the team, but in long-distance races, he always finished strong while others fell behind. His coach had called him relentless, had thought it was just a compliment. Now he understood it was something deeper. It was in his blood. When prey animals became scarce, continued, humans did something extraordinary. They took the animals they had been hunting and made them into allies. They domesticated wolves into dogs. They turned wild cattle into farm animals. They made the entire ecosystem serve them. They made friends with predators, asked in disbelief. They made friends with everything that would cooperate, and they eliminated everything that would not. Paused. Humans have caused more extinctions than any asteroid or volcano. When a species was too dangerous, humans simply killed all of them. When an environment was too hostile, humans changed the environment. The display showed modern Earth. Cities covered the land, ships filled the oceans, planes crossed the sky. They did not adapt to their world. They forced their world to adapt to them. And when they had conquered every corner of Earth, they looked up at the stars and decided to conquer those too. 300 aliens sat in terrified silence, imagining what it would be like to have such creatures as neighbors among the stars. In the front row, finished writing his notes and looked up at the display. He had never thought of his species as frightening. They were just people. They laughed and cried and loved and lost, just like any other beings. But looking at the faces of his fellow cadets, he began to understand why the galaxy found humans so unsettling. It was not that humans were evil or cruel. It was that humans simply never gave up. And in a universe full of species that knew when to stop, that was the most terrifying trait of all. The lecture had been going for almost 2 hours now. Commander had covered earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes, and predators. He had explained how humans sweated and chased and refused to die. The cadets were exhausted just from listening. But was not finished yet. "We must discuss one more thing," he said. "We must discuss what happens when humans fight." The holographic display changed to show a star map. A small region was highlighted in red. 6 months ago, there was a border dispute in the system. A human patrol vessel entered space. They claimed it was an invasion. The humans claimed they were lost. His crystal body flickered. "I remember this incident. My cousin was there." "Then perhaps you can help explain what happened," said, "because our military analysts are still confused." The display showed 2 groups of ships. On one side, 40 hunter vessels, each one armed with plasma cannons and missile systems. On the other side, one small human ship with 6 crew members. The commander demanded that the humans surrender. Standard protocol. 40 ships against one. The outcome should have been obvious. "Did the humans surrender?" a cadet asked. "No," 4 eyes blinked slowly. "The humans sent back a single message. They said, 'Come and take us.'" A murmur went through the classroom. That was not the response of a trapped ship. That was a challenge. The commander disabled the human ship's engines with a precision strike. The ship was dead in space. The humans had nowhere to run. The commander sent boarding parties to capture the crew. The display showed small figures moving from the ships to the human vessel. What they did not expect was that the humans had no intention of being captured. They had put on combat armor. They had armed themselves with whatever weapons they had, and they were waiting. Paused. The boarding parties entered the human ship. 20 soldiers, fully armed, fully armored. They expected to find frightened prisoners. Instead, they found 6 humans who attacked them immediately. 6 against 20, asked, "That is suicide." You would think so, but humans have a very different understanding of acceptable odds. Pulled up combat footage. It was grainy and confusing, full of smoke and flashing lights. The humans did not use cover. They did not retreat. They charged directly at the soldiers. In the footage, a human figure ran straight at twice its size. They fired its weapon, but the human kept coming. It hit the at full speed and knocked it to the ground. "Humans are not stronger than most galactic species," explained. "But they have something else. They have no fear response in combat. Where other species freeze or flee when facing death, humans become more aggressive, more focused, more dangerous." The footage showed more humans fighting. They moved with terrible efficiency, flowing around obstacles and through enemy lines like water through rocks. The boarding party was defeated in 4 minutes. The humans then did something no one expected. They left their own ship and boarded the nearest vessel. They counterattacked, his crystal body cracked again, with 6 soldiers. With 6 soldiers who were now very angry, showed more footage. They moved through the ship like a disease. They disabled the engines. They captured the bridge. They took the entire crew prisoner. One ship, a cadet whispered. They took one ship. They took 3 ships, corrected. Before the fleet could organize a response, the humans had captured 3 vessels and were using their weapons against the rest of the fleet. The remaining ships retreated. The classroom was stunned into silence. 40 ships, said slowly, fled from 6 humans who had started the battle with no working engines. This is what we are dealing with. This is what has joined the Galactic Accord. He turned off the display. The room was dark and quiet. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to prepare you. Humans will be serving alongside you in the future. You need to understand what they are capable of. This was the moment had been waiting for. He raised his hand politely. Yes, Cadet pointed at him without really looking. You have a question. Yes, Commander, about the engagement. Kept his voice calm and respectful. You mentioned the humans' war combat armor. Was it standard environmental protection or military grade? Checked his notes. Standard environmental suits. The military grade equipment had been damaged in the initial attack. Why do you ask, Cadet? He looked it properly for the first time. His 4 eyes examined the young man in the front row. 2 eyes, dark hair, brown skin, no scales, no crystals, no environmental suit. Commander gave a small bow of his head. Republic of Korea, Earth. Serial number 247789 Sol. The silence that followed was so complete that could hear his own heartbeat. All around him, 300 aliens were processing what they had just heard. The human they had been hearing about, the species from the persistence predator that never stopped. One of them was sitting right there, in the front row, where he had been sitting all along. His crystal body made a sound like breaking glass. You are human. Yes. You have been here the whole time. 3 months, confirmed, since the beginning of the term. Commander stood very still. His scales had stopped changing colors, which meant he was experiencing a strong emotion. Whether it was fear or shock or something else, could not tell. Cadet said carefully, the environmental conditions of this station are very comfortable, sir, smiled politely. The gravity is lighter than home. The air is a little thin. The temperature is pleasant. I have no complaints. No complaints, repeated. You find our conditions pleasant. I do have to exercise more than I did on Earth. I do not want to lose muscle in the lower gravity, but otherwise, yes, it is quite nice here. Behind him heard a liquid splashing sound. One of the cadets had fainted and lost control of their form. He did not turn around. He kept his eyes on Commander, waiting respectfully for a response. The Commander of Advanced Survival Tactics, veteran of 30 years of military service, trainer of thousands of officers from dozens of species, had absolutely no idea what to say. The classroom had become very strange. 300 aliens were staring at like he was a bomb that might explode at any moment. The cadet who had fainted was being helped by her friends. His crystal body had so many stress cracks that he looked like he might shatter completely. Commander found his voice first. Cadet, I need you to answer some questions. Of course, Commander. You have been attending this academy for 3 months. You have been eating our food, breathing our air, sleeping in our quarters. Yes, sir. And you have experienced no health problems, no discomfort, no difficulties. Thought about this carefully. He wanted to be honest. The food is a little bland, sir. I miss spicy food. Korean cuisine uses a lot of red pepper and the academy kitchens do not have any. Also, I sometimes feel homesick, but physically I am perfectly healthy. Bland food and homesickness, repeated slowly. Those are your only complaints about living in an environment designed for dozens of different alien species. The mattresses are also very soft. I had some back pain during the first week, but I requested a firmer sleeping surface and the problem went away. A cadet near the back made a choking sound. Was not sure which species they were, but they seemed very upset. Cadet said, "I must ask you something important. Why did you not identify yourself as human when you arrived?" "I did identify myself, Commander. My species was listed on all my registration documents. My planet of origin was clearly marked. No one asked me any questions about it." This was true. The Academy administrators had processed his application just like any other. They had seen the word human and the word Earth, and had not understood what those words meant. Humans were new to the galaxy. Most people had never met one. "No one asked," said, "because no one knew what a human was." "Yes, sir. I assumed the Academy knew. I did not want to be rude by explaining things people already understood." Made a sound that might have been a laugh or might have been a groan. It was hard to tell with. "Cadet, I have been teaching at this academy for 30 years. I have trained Ossians and 24 other species. I thought I understood the galaxy." He paused. "I am beginning to realize I understood nothing." Was not sure how to respond to this, so he stayed quiet. "Would you be willing to assist with future lectures?" asked. "Your perspective would be valuable." "I would be honored, Commander. I would also like to know more about your background. You said you are from the Republic of Korea. Tell me about your family." Smiled. He liked talking about his family. "My father is a teacher. He teaches mathematics at a secondary school in. My mother works at a hospital. She is a nurse in the emergency department. I have a younger sister named. She is 15 years old." "And are they typical humans?" "Very typical, sir." Thought about how to explain this. "My mother works night shifts at the hospital. She sees people who have been in accidents or who are very sick. Sometimes she works for 16 hours without stopping. She says it is tiring but important. 16 hours of emergency medical work, without rest." "Yes, sir, she drinks a lot of coffee." Scales flickered. "And your sister?" "Runs long distance. Last month she completed something called an ultramarathon. She ran 100 kilometers through the mountains near our home. It took her 14 hours. 100 kilometers through mountains at 15 years old. She was very proud. She finished in the top 20 for her age group." The cadets around were completely silent now. They were not just scared anymore. They were trying to understand. How could a species like this exist? How could they be so casual about things that would kill anyone else? Cadet spoke up. Her liquid form had regained some stability. "I must ask, are you considered strong among your people? Are you exceptional?" Laughed softly. "No, I am very average. My sister is faster than me. My mother is tougher than me. My grandfather was a fisherman who once survived 3 weeks lost at sea. He swam to shore when his boat was finally close enough to land. I have never done anything like that." He swam, after 3 weeks without proper food or water. He said the swimming was the easy part. The hard part was convincing my grandmother not to be angry at him for making her worry. Somewhere in the back of the classroom, another cadet fainted. Commander looked at for a long moment. Then he did something unexpected. He made the gesture of respect, bringing all 4 of his hands together in front of his chest. "Cadet, on behalf of this academy, I apologize for our ignorance. We should have known what you were. We should have understood what your presence here meant." "There is nothing to apologize for, Commander. I have learned a great deal from this academy. I hope to learn more." "And we will learn from you," turned to address the whole classroom. "All of you. The galaxy is changing. Humans are part of it now. We must adapt to this new reality." He looked at the holographic display, still showing the blue-green ball of Earth. "They come from a world that tried to kill them every single day. They survived by never giving up. They conquered their planet not through strength or speed, but through pure, relentless persistence." 4 eyes returned too. "And now one of them sits in our front row, taking notes, finding our deadly conditions comfortable. I do not know whether to be terrified or inspired." bowed his head respectfully. "Perhaps both, Commander. My people have a saying, fall down 7 times, get up 8. We are not special because we are strong. We are special because we never stop trying." The classroom was silent for a long moment. Then slowly, one by one, the cadets began to sit up. They looked at not with fear but with something new. Respect, perhaps, or curiosity, or hope. If a creature from a could sit among them and smile, perhaps the galaxy was not as frightening as they had believed. Perhaps with the right allies, anything was possible. Commander ended the class with a simple announcement. Next week, Cadet will give a guest lecture on human survival techniques. Attendance is mandatory. As the cadets filed out, many of them stopped to look at. A few even nodded at him. One, despite all the cracks in his crystal body, managed to raise a manipulator arm in greeting. Nodded back and gathered his things. He had come to this academy to learn how to serve in the galactic military. He had not expected to become a lesson himself. But that was fine. Humans were adaptable. Whatever the galaxy needed from him, he would do his best to provide it. After all, that was what humans did. They kept going no matter what. An average human from Earth would keep going too. One step at a time, forever.